Hello and welcome to Miniature Man with Seki. I'm Seki, and in this video we're gonna go over the top 5 tools every beginner painter should use to get started. The internet is full of professional painters, and they use all different kinds of gadgets for their painting projects. And I had this impression that for beginner painters, they might drown in this ocean of information and be unsure what's really the essence of the tools that they need to get started, which is why I made this video. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. Number 1, brushes. Of course they are on number 1. Without them, you simply cannot paint. When just starting out, I would not recommend buying expensive brushes because you might not know exactly how to take care of them. And then it would be a shame to have expensive brushes break just because of this. I suggest you just buy whatever brand they have at your local hobby store, be it Army Painter or Citadel, because it's the most convenient one and you will kind of know that those brushes will do the job. Or you can do as I did when I started out and just go to the supermarket and buy whichever off-brand brushes they have there. Just make sure that the bristles of the brushes are not too soft, otherwise it's going to be hard to get the paint on the miniatures. Number 2, paints. Again, a very essential component to painting, I know. When I started out, I bought regular acrylic paints from my local crafting shop. They did the job because my standard was incredibly low. I was 12 at the time. But unless you're very well acquainted with color theory and maybe you are a professional artist, in which case I feel obligated to tell you that this video is probably not meant for you. But if that is not the case, I do not recommend using craft store paints when you start with the miniature painting hobby. Personally, I highly recommend you to buy your paints at your local miniature hobby store. Vallejo has some good paints that are very popular in the historical wargaming community. So if you're going to be painting historical stuff, you will find a lot of guides that are using Vallejo. If you're going to be painting mostly Warhammer or other sci-fi or fantasy types of miniatures, then I highly recommend you use Citadel colors, because that range is, well, more popular, and most of the guides that you will find online will be actually using that range of paints. I also recommend buying a good base coat spray can, such as Standard Mechanicus Gray from Citadel, because it will save you a lot of time and you will have a superior base coat on the model compared to when you just paint it on there. Number 3, an old newspaper, or anything else that you can put down on the table so that it doesn't get dirty. I have made this little carton piece to use as a cover for my table when I'm painting minis. If you do not put anything underneath, you will be painting your table at the same time as you're painting your models. Trust me. If you want to avoid making a mess, use an old newspaper or a cutting board or something you don't mind getting paint on. Your table will thank you. Yay! Number 4, the water holder. Quite an important thing if you ask me. I use a big tupper or a Greek yogurt tub like this one over here. As you can see, it's pretty big compared to my big face. And using a big container like that for your painting water, it has 2 big advantages. Firstly, it's a big container, so that means you have a lot of water. It takes a longer time for the water to get dirty when you're rinsing out your brushes, which means you get to paint for a longer time before you have to change the water in the tub. Second, A lot of painters use mugs for their painting water. And then they have another mug with their beverage, tea, coffee. And then they take the wrong mug to drink from, which is not a very pleasant experience. Trust me on that one. Which is why I just recommend you to use a big container for your water. It will get dirty less quickly and you won't end up drinking your painting water. A mini holder. The first 4 are the bare essentials for when you're starting to paint minis, and it will be enough for most people starting out in the hobby. But in my humble opinion, I find that using a holder for the miniatures that you're painting, you are a lot more comfortable whilst painting them, and it will help you improve your techniques a lot just because it will be easier to keep the model steady and you can rotate it in every direction that you need it to go just for you to paint the sides of the model that you want to. Those are the top 5 things every beginning miniature painter needs to get started in this amazing hobby. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.